Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host and special guest, Franco Burrows. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks, brother. Doing great. Great to be on. It's an honor.
Great to have you here, man. So today what I want to talk about is just introduce everybody to your story and about you. So let's talk about you pre-Powerful Man. So you are a graduate of the activation method. You went to the Alpha Reset, and then you joined the Brotherhood. And I actually was lucky enough to be one of your coaches at your Alpha Reset, which I remember very fondly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about before that, though. What spurred you to get involved in this movement to help men?
Well, I did my Alpha Reset in March 2019. So I signed up in November, I believe it was, 2018. And, I like a lot of the guys that come to us, I was on the outside, pretty successful, looking from a distance. And, from where I'm from, people say, oh, yeah, you're doing really well. And, running my soccer academy. And on the inside, I was not great. Especially during that time. One of my best friends had committed suicide. I had a failed relationship. And just emotionally, I just wasn't in a great place. And, there was things from, like most of us, things from my upbringing, my lifestyle, my habits, my routines were all over the place. And, you're talking about someone with a sports science degree. So it's not like I was clueless when it came to health and fitness and all that sort of stuff, but implementing it for myself, forget it. 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks, out there. I was out there coaching, and we had a thriving academy, but my lifestyle was very, very poor. Didn't see my friends much. My not only my sort of health and my routines were off, but my relationships were off as well with my family, with my friends. Intimate relationships were almost impossible. So I invested a lot in my personal development up until that point, and done a lot of stuff and read a lot of books, and just hadn't found that transformation that I was looking for on the inside. So it was like, it felt like the last roll of the dice.
Yeah.
When I signed up,
Yeah. You're going to take the last stab. And then it's almost 2 years ago at this point. And then let's talk a little bit about what was your experience going through the activation method and then off to the Alpha Reset and the Brotherhood. Take the guys a little bit through that experience and then what you're doing today.
Yeah, well, it was strange because you're meeting up with guys online from the States, from the UK, and it's like these little heads popping up on the screen, and all over the weeks you get to know each other, and you start holding each other accountable, supporting each other, and it was great. The best bit was meeting at the airport. I met up with Big Dave Gerrish, as you know.
Yep.
The big teddy bear that he is. And who else? Andrew. So there was three of us from the UK, and then there was 2 from the US that we met up with in person in New Hampshire. Yeah. After flying into Boston, which was amazing. And so
to give everybody a little context here, I'm going to back up for a second. So you're going through at the time you went through the activation method program. You got to know the guys because you met online with your coach a couple times a week, and then you guys all everybody in your group, I think, went to the Alpha Reset, which is in New Hampshire, and that's where you and I got to meet in person.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And what, you want me to talk about the Alpha Reset?
No, there's an Alpha Reset going on right now, guys in the UK. Are going through. So, hats off to those guys for stepping into the line. We're not going to talk about any of the details of the Alpha Reset, but how was your experience coming out of the Alpha Reset?
Oh, I mean, I'd already started to see some steady improvements in the activation method, in my routines, and, creating my vision, which is pretty similar now. It hasn't really changed much. So, and then all I can tell you, it was transformational. When I arrived there, I was like, what the fuck have I got myself? What am I doing the other side of the world, with these strange men? Obviously we can't give anything away about what happens there. It's pretty sacred as far as, the exercises that you go through. But yeah, I mean, for me, you said, like, you talked about the brotherhood. That's what it felt like. It felt like, we're going through something here that was just, on some level, it was what I was always looking for. Because you can, I did like quite high up with the NLP training, master practitioner, trainer's trainer. And, it was tough training. It was very in depth. It was really good. But the difference was with the Alpha Reset is like, it was all about me and the other 5 guys there, or the other four guys there on our one. And, you weren't going to let us out of there until we've changed, And that was the difference. In everything else, you go on a business training course, marketing course. Like I say, for me, it was NLP or coaching, and it's all about material. It's all about material that you can use to change your life, and you can use to change other people's lives. But when are you fucking going to do it?
Yeah.
So it was, you said, step into the line. And it was almost every day, every couple of hours, we were doing something where we had to step to the light, and we had to bare our soul. And I felt at peace. That was the big one. I felt at peace coming away from that.
I was talking to a gentleman who so I won't say his name. I was talking to him just yesterday, and he was talking about, he's early on, just started the activation method, and we were having a conversation. And he's done all kinds of different things, trying to repair his marriage. He's done some talk therapy. He's done other things. He's read all the books, wildly successful man. And he was asking me, he said, Doug, why, I'm already seeing changes here, and it's only been a couple of weeks. Why is that? And, when I was talking to him, I said, what happens with most programs or books or audiobooks, and I've done most of them, I know you have as well. And so what the difference is the knowing. Right? It's knowing it. So for example, what do I mean by knowing? Well, if I have a rock in my hand and I toss it up in the air, what's one thing we know will happen? That rock is going to come down. There's no question of, maybe it'll stay up there in the air. Maybe it won't. Maybe the rock will fly away. No, if I throw it up, beyond a shadow of a doubt, in your core, that rock is coming down. It is going to come down. That's what we do through the activation method, the Alpha Reset, and the Brotherhood, is we instill that transformation in such a manner that it's like the rock. It's a knowing now inside of you that's very different than just knowing information, right?
Yeah.
You can know you can read all you can hear about me talk about Bend, Oregon. However, it's until you come to Bend, Oregon, spend time with me, that's the experience, then you'll really get to know it, right? It's very different.
Yeah, it's like Tim says a lot, doesn't he? You can't unsee what you've already seen. So, it's not to say that I've never slipped back. As you know, I'm a human being still. But you can never drop below a certain level after you've been through that experience. Yep. And you can never stay down for long once you've had that experience, because you just know there's no kidding yourself anymore. I'll never forget coming home and just even like seeing my mother. Obviously I love my mother. For years though, we'd had ups and downs in our relationship, and I won't go through all the story, but just seeing her, and there were times in my life when she didn't hug me much when we were kids for whatever reason, and we'd spoken about it, and she sort of apologized, and she said, I didn't really get that either. But I went through a period where she wanted to hug me for a number of years, and I used to hug her back, but I didn't really want to do it. I don't know if it was stuff I was holding back or whatever, but resentment or whatever. But I'll never forget coming back to see my mother at her house, just giving her the biggest bear hug, and doing the same for all my family, all my friends. And like I say, intimate relationships. It's just a feeling at peace, and yet feeling, I think I said to you at the end of it, I've been reading for years. It's not about what you want, it's what you want to give, but not having that sense of abundance, of overflowing. And that's exactly what I had coming away from there,
Yeah. It was awesome to see. I feel very privileged to be a part of that with you and be on that journey with you. It was a lot of fun. We had some fun joking around during the time as well. Still do. And now, fast forward to today, 2 years later. What are you doing now?
Here I am. I'm program director at the Powerful Man. I'm still, soccer's my, football, as we say in the UK, is still my love. Still very passionate about it. I'm writing a book on coaching, and there's a lot of personal development stuff in there as well. And interestingly, one of the things I always found with dealing with parents, because as you know, that's such a huge part of building up a player to be the best they can be. I was always aware on some level that, seeing the dad and how he leads the family has such a huge bearing on how well the kid can do.
Mm-hmm.
And we see it on a more acute level in individual sports like boxing. Like Tyson Fury, his such a strong character, his dad, and Joe Calzaghe from up the road in Wales, amazing relationship with his dad. And I could see it in soccer, where if they didn't have that, I wouldn't say they had no chance, but chances of doing really well is so limited. And so joining the team, I always remember Arthur saying to me on some of the events we did, he said you can lead youngsters, and he said you can also lead men, because he'd seen me in action with the other men and the influences I was having. And I thought, yeah, I think he's right, So I always had it in my mind, because without blowing smoke up your ass or Tim's or whatever, or Arthur's, is genuinely, I always felt, fuck, this is the real deal. This is, you're human beings like everyone else, but I've never seen anyone maintain such high standards, and I wanted to be a part of the team. So when the job came up at the beginning of the year, I went for it, as you know, and I haven't looked back. And awesome. It's been an interesting journey for me, because as we talk about a lot, when you go to the next level, sometimes a shitload of other stuff comes up.
Yep.
So I've been poked and prodded by Tim and yourself on a number of occasions, and I'm feeling really settled now in the role. And the other big draw is helping the men. Whether it's in the Facebook community, whether it's on calls, keeping in touch with the men who've enrolled on the program. I spoke to Taylor last night, had a great conversation, and so yeah, that's so rewarding to help guys who not all in exactly the same position, but were in a tough spot when they signed up a lot of the time. Not always, some guys just, they're not happy with average, but to help men who have had the same challenges that I've had, and be able to give them the tools, it's just amazing.
No, absolutely. Well, you're on the other side of the fence now. Now you are, not only changing the lives of the guys that come through the program, but the lives of their families, the lives of their employees and their teams, and the lives of their communities. So the ripple effect is huge.
Yeah. And just we worked it out. What is it? 1,000? Is it 100 people for every man that transforms himself? The impact is at least 100 people he will significantly impact.
I didn't know that. You're in the high thousands, buddy. So for those that aren't aware, if you do sign up and you have the privilege of getting on to just a clarity conversation with somebody or about what is the Powerful Man, what is this movement about, Frankie, or as I say, Franco, is one of the guys that you get the opportunity just to speak with, just have a conversation with. It's not a sales conversation. It's just a conversation about what's possible. And so you've been doing that so well, and you've been leading these guys to their best selves. Because often we hear this all the time. I mean, the guys that were in in your group, you know, everybody questions the decision after they make it, right? Did I do the right thing? Should I really do it? What are people going to say about me if they find out? All of these stories our ego is telling us. And it really takes a man, really, to step up and really raise their hand and step to the line, as we like to say.
Yeah, and the big one is, you know, from the wife, isn't it? The shit test.
Yep.
And, you know, whether it's to do with finances or, you know, I think you probably remember one of the guys in the activation method the other day. He starts taking action. He goes for a run. And he said, my wife's making fun of me now.
Yeah.
Because I'm going for a run. And, you know, it's a shit test. She's just seeing if he's really serious about it. She's poking him and prodding him.
Yep, absolutely. That was great. Well, we'll talk about more of that in another episode here. But I just wanted to give everybody the opportunity that I've had the blessing of getting the chance just to know you just a little bit and find out a little bit more. So, gentlemen, as you're listening to this and hearing Franco's story of what he went through, if any of that resonates with you, I highly encourage you to jump on a call and talk to him. He's very active in our free Facebook community. He's always there. And coming up next, we're going to do an episode on something that Franco is an expert in, which is picking up women and treating them really well. So he is a chick magnet. So guys, that is it for us for the episode of The Powerful Man Show. As always, go over to thepowerfulman.com/bonus and pick up a free training there. And that way you can get started right away. Until then, Franco, thanks so much for being with us. Have an amazing day, my friend, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Doug. Cheers, man.